In traditional finance markets, you can buy a good old index fund such as the S&P 500 and get exposure to a variety of companies in terms of size as well as sectors. Whereas the crypto space, it seems people are always arguing which project is better within a space like DeFi. Is SushiSwap better? Is Uniswap better? How do you judge it? And do you invest all of your money in one project? Do you split it across multiple? Today's video, we're talking about crypto indexing actually on the blockchain using something like Index Coop and their products like DPI, where it's focused on the DeFi space so you can invest in multiple projects all at once with one purchase. I'm not gonna lie, sometimes being in the crypto space and researching all these projects can be a little overwhelming. You click on something like DeFi, you can see all of these different projects that are working on very similar problems, and it's just kind of impossible to keep up to date on 100 different projects all at once. Because when any normal person goes to Google and says, is Uniswap or SushiSwap better, you'll get different articles, videos, and is there any bias in those articles? You really have to do your own research, compare all the pros and cons, maybe use these articles and videos as a reference point, but you normally pick a couple projects to invest in. That's where Index Coop and the Index token was created in order to create products that index different cryptocurrencies, specifically the different sectors within the crypto space. In this video, we're going to be talking mostly about DPI, and it tracks a variety of tokens that are in the DeFi space. When you invest in this, you get exposure to Aave, Compound, Sushi, Uniswap, so you don't have to worry about, is SushiSwap that much better than Uniswap, and vice versa. Your first question may be, what is the difference between Index token versus something like DPI, which is the product? Index is the governance token to make decisions on which products get introduced, how they're managed, the methodology of the products themselves, a way to make decisions within a decentralized autonomous asset manager. Basically, Index comes up with the methodology behind the product. It's created on something known as the set protocol. You can think of sets as baskets of different assets, and they're tokenized assets because they're on the blockchain. Through smart contracts, you can build a portfolio of assets and fractionalize it so it's all backed into a single coin. Right now, the protocol is based on ERC20 tokens. The different tokens that are in these sets need to be based on the Ethereum blockchain, but to create a set, you choose the tokens that you want to be in the portfolio, put in the percentage of each of those assets, put in the different rules and criteria, and when you're done, you create this new token that represents the assets within the set. You're essentially automating what a portfolio manager may do when it comes to rebalancing assets on a monthly basis, or maybe executing trades if you hit a certain criteria. You can build all of this into a smart contract and automate the portfolio management. And as a finance and crypto nerd myself, I love that the two worlds are combining. So you got a basket of assets, you understand that, but how are the tokens decided to be included in something like DPI? There's rules and characteristics that they use in order to determine which of the blockchains are going to actually be collateralized into this index. You have descriptive characteristics, you have supply characteristics. All these rules are determined in cooperation with the Index Coop to decide, how do we create these products? Once the product is created, like DPI, you have two phases that it will go through each month in order to maintain the index. You have the determination phase as well as the reconstitution phase. Both of these will introduce or delete different cryptocurrencies that maybe no longer meet the criteria. And then once all of that is determined, what will be added, deleted, then on the first working day or however it's programmed, it basically will execute those trades in order to rebalance the index. Again, Index is the brain of the products and the creator of the products, whereas set protocol is the technology that actually runs the products. DPI is the product, and therefore all of the collateralized tokens are represented by that set. Let's talk about, though, the tokenomics behind the Index token to understand how that works, why you would want to own the Index token, and just the release schedule. In total supply or max supply of only 10 million Index tokens will ever be distributed. Looking at the release schedule, it's 3 years, and these are all the people that are getting a distribution. It seems to me that a majority of the Index tokens are being used as as a treasury fund to either pay out partners that they've worked with or to entice people or incentivize people to join this methodology program in order to come up with these new products. And it should be clear by this distribution that they work closely with Set Labs, who is in charge of the Set protocol. And then they even have an allocation to DeFi Pulse, which is the website that aggregates all of the DeFi projects. The value of this token is based on how many products can they create, maybe future revenue streams, and we'll talk about how they could potentially make money in the future using something like streaming fees. And they're not the only project that are talking about indexing different cryptocurrencies, but they are one of the biggest when it comes to assets under management. Of course, there's pros and cons to indexing as well as introducing the crypto aspect with indexing. So let's talk about the pros and cons of indexing crypto. The first pro is that it's passive. You don't have to do any research on any crypto projects and you get exposure to a certain theme, which is another pro, right? You can invest in specific narratives. If you believe DeFi is the biggest potential for the crypto space, well, you can invest in DeFi alone versus something like Metaverse. You may think that's not going to come about for years or it's stupid, so you can just not invest in any coins related to that. Another pro is diversification. So you spread your risk across multiple projects. Even if you do your research and you think SushiSwap is the best DeFi exchange out there, and one day it turns out that the smart contract system is all screwed up, everyone abandons it, and the price of sushi crashes, well, you have all of the other assets in the set to make sure that you don't lose all your money. The last one is that it's redeemable. When you buy a set protocol, it's all the assets are being collateralized into an index token, and the index token is bought. When you have that index token, you can actually redeem it for the underlying assets that are in that product. If you buy DPI and it's 50% Ethereum, 50% AVE, and you redeem it, you'll actually have those tokens go to your crypto wallet. When it comes to cons, you have diversification. Whoa, I thought that was a pro. The trade-off with diversification is the lower potential return. If you concentrate all of your risk into one project and it 20x's, obviously you'll do better than if you spread your risk across multiple projects. It's just a trade-off. The second con is fees. There's actually built-in streaming fees, which you can actually think of this like an expense ratio for an index ETF. With the DPI protocol, right now it's 0.95%, which is actually kind of high on the side of expense ratios. I don't blame them for having streaming fees set for these ETFs. I would expect for all the work that's being put in by DeFi Pulse and Index Coop to set these up, they should be rewarded with something. It's up to you to determine whether or not that streaming fee is appropriate. It's just something to look out for and know. Another concern for me is data sourcing and where the information is coming from in order to determine the execution of rebalancing trades, all of that. Because if it is something like CoinGecko and it's only one source, there's a glitch in pricing or circulating supply, it could potentially screw up the rebalancing or the execution of trades. Then you have smart contract risk, which isn't avoidable for any DeFi application or protocol that you're investing in, whether it's Ethereum, Avalanche, where something in the code itself screws up or pops up over time. The last con that I can see is that you are putting a lot of trust in the Index Coop to come up with products in the future, make sure that the protocols are set up correctly, and they're working with contributors that are not acting in a bad way to enrich themselves, but to progress the project and make it better. Overall, I love the concept. I think it just needs more time for people to recognize, first of all, it exists, and then secondly, to trust the set protocol, as well as buying into these index crypto tokens. In order for these to really take off, in my opinion, I would think that the streaming fees have to be extremely small over time. I understand people have to get paid in order to set up the set, as well as think about the methodology so it's foolproof. But if we're talking about in the future where you could potentially put stock assets on the blockchain, you could create these index cryptos and have a streaming fee of 0.0001%. And if all of the assets for these index products are going into one set, that person, whoever created it, even though it's a very small percentage, you have a crazy amount of assets under management. Of course, in that situation, hopefully nothing goes wrong with the smart contract if there's trillions of dollars on this index crypto. And who knows, maybe I create my own set. Nah. Anyway, if you did enjoy the video, make sure to hit that like button, as well as consider subscribing to Major Wolf, where we talk crypto, investing, anything to do with money. Thanks guys for watching, and have a great day.